of Homes. We're speaking with Kendall Schumacher about the home buying and selling process. And so, Kendall, I know the real estate professional that you personally have sold a home, but you have also personally bought home, maybe many. So can you tell me a little bit about how you would help, or what some of the things that you would recommend for a seller to get ready to put their house on the market to eventually sell it?
Sure. I know that once you get that idea that you're wanting to move, the best thing is you're going to be moving anyway, so let's start with decluttering the house and maybe starting to package them up, maybe have a storage unit somewhere where you could put those items. So a lot of personal things left on the walls might be memories you have, but not necessarily what you want your new person coming through to see your home to view.
So we all have those junk drawers.
We all have that stuff.
Mine are overflowing.
Or knickknacks or things that are just out. So it might not be what you want to draw attention to. You want people to see the home and not necessarily the items in it.
So declutter.
Declutter. Put things away. You want to definitely get your valuables out of the home, just in the thoughts.
Secure the guns and the diamonds and the jewelry, right?
Things you have to think about.
Okay.
Maybe make it a little child-proof if it's not currently, because maybe your children have left home, but you might have young children coming through. And
now, I have heard a lot of agents tell clients to maybe put away their medicines.
Yes.
Because that's common. You see it on TV, people looking through your medicine cabinets,
Well, you want to know how your stuff is going to fit.
Yeah, well, absolutely, absolutely.
And that's how you would use the house, so sure.
And do you recommend a home inspection or repairs maybe before it's listed?
Sure, they always find something that maybe you're not aware of as you've lived in the house. Maybe it's something you put up with, not thinking that somebody else might not want that.
Okay, so declutter, secure valuables, possibly home inspection. What about that buyer or that seller is now selling, but they're going to have to find a place to live once the house sold.
Right.
And so how do you help them with that?
Well, they need to know where they're going to be going. If they need to be out right away, if they're going to have months to decide, then that's another thing too. If they're going to do, stay in the house for a little bit. But I know that we ended up having to rent a duplex in the meantime while we had a house be built. And so that was our option, but we had a short-term lease, so that is something you need to take into consideration. When somebody's wanting a year lease, you may not have that amount of time, so think about where you're going.
Well, I know a lot of builders are taking 6, 8, 9 months to build.
That's what we thought, and ours was done in 4. So.
Oh, really? Oh,
so then you have to
lucky.
think, now we're going to have to break a lease. So there's a lot to consider. And we had dogs, so you have to think about your pets too. So, and if kids are in school, you want to time that correctly as well. So it is that is one of the tough challenges, I think, of moving.
So when they have their house on the market but it hasn't sold yet, and they're looking for a house, they're going to have to get pre-qualified.
Correct.
Find the house, go through the emotions and the drama of home inspections and appraisals and trying to coordinate 2 closings and a move. It sounds pretty stressful.
Well, that's the part of bringing in the real estate agent who also has a team behind her, or him, I should say that.
Yeah.
And that's when you're working with a lot of people that you've already worked with before, and you have that team spirit of everybody, doing their job, so that you don't have to worry about those kind of details. Like with the home inspector, he will also be able to make recommendations of what he thinks you should have done. And when you have your mortgage, you're going to probably already have contacts you already know, or maybe you have people that could be referred to you.
Absolutely.
That type thing. So there's a whole team behind you when you're buying and selling.
You got the realtor, the home inspector, the appraiser, the bank, the builder in your case.
Yes.
And so
everything at once. So lots to consider, but starting over can be an exciting time too. It can be the best thing to ever happen to you.
Especially because I know, at least in the Prescott area, a couple of years ago, it was 5 to 8 years. People would buy a house. We'd expect to see them selling it in 5 to 8 years, but that's actually gotten a little bit longer now. It's like 8 to 12 years on the average. And so, because you might need a bigger house, you have more children or less, or they grow up and move out, then you have to downsize.
Right.
Anything else that you want to add? It sounds like it's very
starting
complicated.
over, starting over can be fun. It can be stressful, but it can be fun.
But you need someone to help you.
You need someone on your side.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Well, thanks. Thanks for coming out today.
You bet. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Terri Atkins, Associate Broker with Arizona Prime Real Estate. I'm here today with Rea Newman from Mile High Lending. I asked Dana to come and join us today because I get a lot of questions on how to apply for a home loan and what the first steps are. So Dana, tell us a little bit about yourself and then we'll answer some questions.
Sure. As you know, I'm Dana with Mile High Lending. I'm the owner broker for Mile High Lending. We are a mortgage broker as opposed to a bank or a banker. We're an independent brokerage here in Prescott. We've been open since 2009. And I've been in the mortgage business myself for 17, almost 18 years now.
That's great.
It's all I've done as an adult is be a mortgage broker.
And we've worked together most of that time.
Yes, we have. When I was a front desk person, when I was a loan processor, and now as an originator. So, yeah.
And you are my go-to lender, so I use Dana all the time. She's so good with my clients, and I guess we'll open it up with that communication. The reason I have my clients call you all the time is I know that I'm going to get you every step of the way. I'm going to know what's happening, and a lot of people don't understand that needs to happen, that the loan officer needs to communicate with the realtor.
Yes.
So my buyers call and they say that they need help with a home loan, and I always have them call you first, and you can run the options through them. So tell us a little bit about those first steps.
It is very important to get pre-qualified even before you go shopping for a home.
Absolutely.
You know, I always tell clients the reason it's important, not only do you not want to, waste their own time, waste your time, I don't want them to fall in love, and you don't either. I want them to fall in love with a home that maybe is not in their price range, that the payment's not going to work out to what they were hoping it would. So they need to give a lender a call. Do a loan application is usually the first step to pre-qualification. That can be done a multitude of ways. We can do one over the phone, we can do it via telephone, we can do it via email.
And does that cost them anything?
With Mile High Lending, we do no cost, no obligation pre-qualification. So we don't charge anything. We don't have any upfront fees, no application fees, no credit reporting fees. We take their information, get it into our system, we pull a credit report, and we run it through the automated system, which is not a full approval. That's when you get to underwriting, but it is more than just a conversation, which is important because you're going to need a pre-qualification letter in order to put an offer in for them. So we go over with them after we get the loan application in and their credit report in. We pre-qualify them not just for what maybe they think they want, but maybe every option available to them.
Right.
So we do conventional, FHA, VA, USDA. There's a lot of options.
And that affects the type of house they're going to look at too.
Correct.
From my end of it.
Yes, because not all financing is acceptable for manufactured homes. In some cases, there are different types of financing that require the seller to pay closing costs. Sometimes buyers need help with closing costs. So we let them know not only what they can qualify for, but what they cannot exceed. So.
Right.
As you know, sometimes you get into a situation where you're countering back and forth, and you want to know where the limit is. And just because someone can qualify for this much doesn't mean they want a payment in that price range.
Now, a lot of people think that, because some people, they say, no, I want to look at these houses first. And I always say, it's because they're scared of the process. So
Correct.
I want to make it known that it's actually, like you said, I like that. It's a conversation the first time.
Yep.
You're not going to say, drive your taxes to me.
Correct.
For a pre-qualification.
Correct. Now,
You'll need it later.
We'll need it later. We always need documentation to support their loan application
Right.
information first. But, we ask, so that we place them in the right type of loan, what are your goals? Is this a primary residence? Is this a vacation home? Do you want to have this home as an investment property to make income from? How much, I don't say this is what's required down. How much would you like to put down?
Right.
And then we will say, well, the minimum amount humanly possible. We go over the different programs available for that. And well, I don't have a down payment. Well, here's where you can get down payments, acceptable sources of down payment. There's also what we call, red flags, things to be aware of. Cash is not acceptable. And so there's things like that where we go over the do's and don'ts of getting pre-qualified and staying pre-qualified all the way through the close of escrow.
No buying boats or cars.
No buying boats or cars.
During your escrow.
Yes, everything is monitored all the way through the close of escrow. And a lot of people, well, I don't want to take the time to do a loan application if I'm not going to like the house. If you're wanting to buy a home, you're going to find them the home that they love eventually, and they need to be ready. And so once we have the loan application in and the credit report done, that pre-qualification is good until they find a house. Credit reports expire, they can be refreshed, but they will have, if it takes them, 6 months to find something, it's ready at a moment's notice to go once they're pre-qualified. And people will say, well, it's not a long process. We do the loan out, if we do it over the phone, we can have their information into our system in 15 to 20 minutes and have them pre-qualified within the hour in some cases.
Which you've done for me many, many times where I call and say I need a pre-qualification, and you're very quick on that usually.
We try to be.
I'd say usually 20 minutes, and I have it, and you need that. And that's another thing that buyers need to know is we do need that going into the offer process. Otherwise, you are not a strong buyer. We have no idea, and I would never do something like that anyways, submit without them talking to you.
Well, and that's a good point, using a local lender as opposed to someone that you might find on the internet or a larger company, because we are here and we are present, and I'm physically taking the loan application with my company. I'm the originator, and we do everything in-house. We're, like I said, a broker, so we broker loans to wholesale lenders, but I'm the one that submits the file. I collect all the paperwork. I review all the paperwork from beginning to the end.
So they can come and sit with you at your desk.
Correct.
And go through everything.
Correct.
And even if, because I've had people say, well, Terri, I live in California. I can't. Well, you're going to be here looking at the homes.
Yes.
So yes, you can go and sit down with you and
and we do have out-of-state clients. We can do loans anywhere in the state of Arizona. And so when we have people relocating or buying a second home, we have a lot of retirees coming from other states. We can do everything online. We can do everything via email, but going over options is something that's personal, and again, it's me and my team are the only people involved in the purchase, so they're gonna get me or my receptionist or my assistant when they call in.
So what about if I run into this sometimes? You're in California or New York. Well, Terri, I'm just gonna use Wells Fargo in California because that's.
Yes. Now, what tends to happen with especially large banks, they will write pre-qualification letters without reviewing anything. Based on nothing. And so you will just say, hey, my name's Susan, and I want to buy a house. Okay. How much do you want to buy a house for? I want a $300,000 house. Okay, here's a pre-qual letter. And the process with the larger banks is very long as far as when they collect your information and send it to someone to review. So a lot of times we've experienced where a larger bank will then notify you, oh, we checked up on the paperwork that was submitted to us, and you're no longer pre-qualified, but now it's been 2 to 3 weeks before someone reviewed the information.
Because that communication is gone. I run into it. That's why I always recommend a local lender. I run into it, banks, Quicken, they don't communicate, they don't stay on top of it, and they don't close on time either. So it's, it's valuable to have somebody who does their job and is on top of it and can communicate with the realtor, and that's
correct.
What I'm driving home here, and that it's not.
Our community is small. And so customer service is extremely important to you, I know, and definitely to me too. And I always cite the example. I said, you're gonna own a home here. We live here. I live here. I'm gonna see you in the grocery store, and I don't want to have to hide from you. I want you to run up to me and give me a hug and wave at me, and I'm going to treat you in a way that's going to get that end resolution, that you're happy with the loan process, that I communicated, I did everything that I could to help, and to help your realtor get you a successful closing. And that's something, if you use someone, that maybe is on the internet or doesn't have a face-to-face contact, they sometimes don't care what happens because they're never going to see you again or never have an interaction again.
Right.
And
they don't care that your moving truck is sitting there and
correct.
And you're going to lose a lot of money and upset the seller when we don't close on time.
Absolutely.
So I do everything to avoid that, and I know that you do too, which
Yes.
is why I say use a local lender.
Yeah, and our turn times with the lenders that we use are pretty quick. There's certain parts of the process that only certain people have control over. Inspections, we don't have control over the turn times. Appraisals, we don't have control over the turn times. But whether we have a 20-day escrow, a 30-day escrow, a 60-day escrow, my goal is to get the loan docs to the title company as quickly as humanly possible, so that we can avoid any problems and we know of any issues up front. That's another thing when you have a self-employed client. We need to see tax returns as quickly as possible. Because those need to be analyzed and their income is a little bit different and needs a little bit more care than your straight W-2 borrower. And we try and, again, get that information in, review it so that everyone knows what we're working with as soon as possible.
Okay. And then do you work with people who have less than perfect credit?
Absolutely.
A lot of those people think they can't buy a house.
Correct. And when people say, I have terrible credit, what I reply is, well, what you think is terrible and what I think is terrible is two different things. And so there are certain specific issues that can prevent somebody not purchasing something right now. There's always a plan that we can put into place to purchase in the future.
You can work with them and
Correct.
say you can do A, B, and C, and then you'll be on track.
Correct. So there are options. We do qualifying mortgages, which means they're not qualifying mortgages. And so we, like I said, do conventional FHA, VA, USDA. And each of those types of financing have different waiting periods for things like bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sales, deed in lieu. But a lot of the turn times are shorter than people think. Everyone, a lot of people, it's a misconception that you have to wait 7 years for everything. And you don't have to wait 7 years for everything. Additionally, we can, on some loans, go as low as a 580 credit score. And
I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Correct.
And they just say, I'm out.
Yeah. And like I said, when we pull a credit report, maybe the score's not where it needs to be, or the score is where it needs to be, but there's certain particular issues that they could clear up on their own. We kind of point that stuff out to them and, try again in 90 days, 30 days in some cases, but usually 90 to 120 days. I always tell people, I have people in my drawer that have been in my drawer for quite a long time, but never give up, because, eventually you will be able to be a homeowner or refinance the home that you have currently. And if you give up, then it's never going to happen. So you just need to keep trying. And, we try not to be dismissive of any client. It's worth finding out where you are so that you know where you need to be.
And you're realistic about it. You're realistic with them. If it's going to take some time, fine. And if you're ready, you're ready, and we can do all that. So.
And one thing that people always say is that Dana's a straight shooter, and I am. So I'll give you the news, good or bad, as quickly as I possibly can.
That's why we work well together, because we're both straight shooters.
Correct.
So.
And borrowers want to know what they're dealing with as
Right.
soon as possible too. And they, there's times where we've had people that have relocated here and they have an old APS bill that was a shut-off fee for $30, and they never got the bill and they had no idea it was there. Those are things that are important to find out now, not when you're ready to put an offer in.
So a lot of people ask me, and then again I have them talk to you, they ask me, what do you charge to, what are the fees associated with getting a home loan?
We don't charge any fees. We are what you call a lender paid broker. So we're paid by the lender, and our compensation is separate of the type of loan they get or the type of home that they buy. It doesn't matter to us. Like I said, we don't have any origination fees. We don't have any credit reporting, processing, application fees.
And this is huge because
It is. I mean, we
It
have
can
seen,
add up.
yeah, we've seen estimates from other lenders that are $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 in
Right.
closing costs. So buyers are always given the option to buy the rate down if they'd like to. That's not a mandatory option for them. We also, so when I tell people what our fees are, the lender I'm brokering the loan to, they're going to underwrite the loan. They're going to draw the loan docs. So they charge an underwriting fee or an admin fee. That's if I can quote the amounts, it's usually around $870 for the underwriting fee. The appraiser is going to have an appraisal fee,
Right.
And that's going to depend on the property type and the appraisal type. And then the title company has title fees. They have escrow fees, title insurance, and that's it. And in some cases, because we are able to, depending on the interest rate that the borrower chooses, we're able to apply lender credits to the closing costs. So, for instance, for a VA loan, we're able to structure a VA loan so the veteran doesn't have any closing costs out of pocket, and in some cases can even get their earnest money back.
Because people do say that to me all the time. Why, when I have them call you, they're like, so she's not a bank.
Correct.
Like she's a broker.
Yes.
And I know we're covering it, but
What a broker does is I broker currently to about 16 different lenders.
okay.
I use 4 of them consistently. I use those 4 because they provide number 1, good customer service to me and the client. They have low fees. That admin fee or underwriting fee is low as far as lenders are concerned. And they offer the programs that we need.
Right.
So we broker to 16 different lenders because 1 or 2 or 5 of them have a special niche program that I needed one time. So I signed up and did a loan with that particular lender. We don't fund the loans. We originate loans. We don't fund them. We originate them, the lender funds them, and then services them after the close of escrow. So they'll make their payments to the lender.
And that's why you're not charging.
That's why we don't charge origination fees,
Right.
and we're paid by the lender. Because one example that I give people on how to explain what a broker does or is you want really good socks. And so everyone loves Costco, right? So you go to Costco, they have great socks, you can buy them in bulk, and they're at a really low cost. And if you have a problem with your socks, you can go into Costco, everyone's gonna run over, they're all gonna help you resolve your sock issue. And that's kind of what we do. You can't get to the lender without going through me. So wholesale lenders don't have retail operations. You can't walk into one of the lenders that I broker to and ask them for a loan.
Right.
You can only access them through
Through
a
you.
broker. And the whole point is to get a lower interest rate at a lower cost. That's the idea. And so you can go into a retail store and buy, 1 pair of socks, or you can go to Costco and buy a whole big pack and have that support system there. But you have to have you have to get the membership
Right.
card, and I'm kind of the membership card to getting
A great way
affordable
of
good
explaining
socks.
it.
Yeah.
I might use that.
All right. Feel free.
Thank you for answering these questions today, and I love working with you, and I look forward. I know we'll have many years to come.
Absolutely.
And for people, you are located at the Crossings.
We are. Our new office is located in the Crossings Business Park off of Willow Creek Road. We're at 3625 Crossings Drive, Suite A. The phone number is 928-778-1400, and we're available anytime for questions or concerns.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Steve Irwin from Arizona Prime Real Estate. Today we have Kelly Hall, one of our professional experienced agents from our Prescott sales office. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, how are you, Steve?
Pretty good. So a lot of our clients want to know a little bit more about our agents and kind of what's out there.
Yeah.
So can you tell us where you're from, how you got to be in Arizona, and how you got to be in real estate.
Well, I'm originally from California.
A California girl.
Yeah, Hermosa Beach. Did the
Surfer.
surfer girl. And I moved here in 1987.
Wow.
And I moved to Cottonwood, Arizona. Now, I had no idea where Cottonwood was. But I moved there with my husband, and it was an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did, what caused you to relocate to the Prescott area?
Well, my husband got a job here, and then I've always been interested in real estate.
Okay.
My grandmother, my mother have all been in real estate. So
I remember, yeah, in California.
Yeah, in California. And so for 40 years, my grandmother was a top agent in California. And so I just sort of gravitated to real estate.
And-
After my children grew up, I felt like I needed to start a career, and that's what I decided to do, is start a real estate career.
So in 18 years, what have you focused on as far as real estate?
I mainly focus on buyers and investors, and that's my main. I like listings, but I think I like the interaction with buyers and helping them and guiding them to buying their new home.
Educating them about the market.
Yep.
So you're very good at it. What do you owe your success in real estate to?
I think it's just me being me. You know, I'm personable. I like people. I care about the person that I'm working with. They become my friends.
Okay.
You know, they're my best friends afterwards. I still have contacts and talk to them, and you know, and I think I go out of my way.
Okay.
Also.
So thanks, Kelly, for that information. And if somebody wanted to contact you, maybe to buy or list a home or purchase an investment property, what's your contact information?
Phone number is 928-848-1649. Email is kelly@kellsalesprescott.com.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode of Prescott Gallery of Homes. I'm Steve Irwin, a real estate broker with Arizona Prime Real Estate here in beautiful Prescott, Arizona.